you've hit the mistakes for what people have made in terms of traveling, what they should do, what they shouldn't do, right? What do you
Yeah.
find like the top 5 mistakes that people make when traveling? Like, what do you find is like the things that people often do that they shouldn't be doing?
So not checking your passport, meaning you have a passport, it expires in, I don't know, 6 months to a year when you did the booking, but
Yeah.
you don't know that the country that you're going to has a rule where you have to have either like 2 passport pages free so that they can stamp them, or you have 6 months beyond the time that you're traveling that's still available on your passport. So getting to the airport and realizing, oh no, what do you mean I can't travel? That's huge. Um, it was for a little bit, vaccines and things like that, because different
Yeah.
countries are different. But really, I find more so when it comes to vaccines, and I know everyone has their viewpoints on that.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you go from one country to another, you have to have a vaccine that you didn't have to have if you had just gone straight to the second country.
Wow.
So knowing those little nuances when it comes to different countries is really important. Two, three, I would say entry. Now a lot of countries are expecting citizens of the United States to have visas to get in them. And so, for example, England just put into effect that you need a visa if you're going to stay there. Well, for a while, they were even saying you need a visa to travel to another, like if you're just going through. I stopped in London for an hour and now I'm on my way to Rome. For a bit, they were saying you needed to have a visa as well. Well, that
Wow.
rule just changed. So now you don't need to have that. But if you didn't know about the rule to begin with, that could have been problematic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
It's just
And
these little nuances.
yeah. And I know too, it's also funny too, when we went, me and my fiance, we actually went on a boat trip about, I think 2 years ago now at this point. We
Mhm.
actually totally forgot about my passport to update it. So I was like, oh my God, we're leaving in like a month or two. We're leaving in a couple of months, but we have to get our passports updated. So that kind of makes sense. And I know too that also in the United States that there's some travel changes that are coming up with, how people traveling. Like it's not just one ID anymore. There's other factors involved with it. So I guess
Mhm.
that must be part of your checklist of like what you need to do in order to have and travel safely. I'm sure for you, right?
Exactly, exactly. And
Yeah.
another big thing, people people usually don't know this. When you travel on a yacht or go on a cruise, doesn't matter how luxurious the cruise is or how like, we're just going to have fun kind of cruise or yacht, your passport has to be okay for every country that you enter and that you get off that boat. Otherwise, you're staying there on the boat. And
Yeah.
so that's a big thing. But people also don't know is a lot of those, I think all of them actually do background checks on you.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Is that a new thing, or is that a real recent thing, or that's been always like that?
It's always been like that. So you might have a DUI from, or a jaywalking thing from when you were younger that you've
Yeah.
completely forgotten about, but that could be something that stops you from being able to get on the cruise.
Wow.
Hmm.
It just sounds like a scary thing that like people are traveling, and I guess that it kind of makes sense why you hire someone to help you with that, because like it is a scary thing when they do background checks. You're like, oh my God, I hope they don't find out about me. Like, oh my God, will they find me that that I've like done some bad things and like just I can't get out of it now and I can't travel now. So like, how do you calm people down with that? Because I know a lot of people that I've met, they freak out about traveling a lot and just like, oh, I have this anxiety of like, how can I make it to other places? And just, I have to have all these things on time. Like, how do you get rid of that anxiety for people?
Right. And it's really exactly what you said. It's this anxiety that sort of starts building and I see it and I feel it. And really it's about, I walk someone through, okay, let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the basics so you can see what I'm doing. And then that way you're not stressed. It's all about communication. And so making sure that they have this information. I always find out one, how do people like to be communicated to? Some people want it by text message. Some people want emails. I always back everything up by email so they have that copy, but it's really how do they prefer to be communicated with? And then making sure they are aware of like what the steps are. Some people just really want those bullet points. Like, just give
Yeah.
it to me easy. And so you have to be aware of who you're working with and what their style is. There's a lot of understanding of people that goes into this world. Like, I have to understand you and understand the country they're going to and the people there, and being able to just to make my clients aware, like, this is what they're expecting and what's needed.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. It's such a fascinating thing because you don't really know all these rules until it's changed.